So I'll keep reading the experience of Vipassana 25 years ago. And this is the part after 10 days. Title is Reflection. After the course, follow up making love with the universe. That's the awakening experience. That's what happened on the 8th day. After that experience on the 8th day, I had similar but less surprising experiences. As I meditate, I could direct the flow of energy, sensation of tingling feeling in any direction. For example, I could make a loop around, say, palm, hand, shoulder, leg, and back to the palm to form a loop, closed loop, and let the energy felt as sensation to go around in this loop rapidly. Or I could direct the flow of energy in various paths in my body at a very rapid speed. After the return from the course, while I was doing mindless tasks, I could sense the same sensation and felt like my body was melting. Even a subtle blow of wind gave me a very pleasant sensation. My palm remained tender, and my sense from the sole of my feet also helped to generate the sensation to start spreading. It's like a soft spot, which was followed by the sense of vibration at a much larger scale. Along with these sensations, in most cases, I felt funny that my penis got erected when I got into such a state. I thought that it is because nature was letting all the bodily cells to be refreshed and genuinely happy to manifest their naturalness without mind inhibiting them. I was still curious about this phenomena related to what appeared to be an increased sexual energy or life energy as a form of fully expressing life energy, and searched for some explanation in the internet and books. Then I remembered that there was a picture that might represent a similar experience in one of the books I had. And there's a picture here. Yeah, maybe I'll show you. It was a painting I found in Shambhala Dictionary of Buddhism and Zen on page 183. It was a Tibetan painting where Bodhisattva, called Samantabhadra, he who is all-pervadingly good, or he whose beneficence is everywhere, making love while he is in meditating position. So there was the lady. Let me show it again. Where did it go? The picture shows a naked lady hugging this primordial Buddha sitting on top of him while he seemed to be calmly meditating as his two hands supported the bottom of this lady. In the painting, they are floating in the sky with clouds and mountains shown below. Yeah. Studying this picture, I thought this is showing someone experiencing bliss while in meditation, just like I did. This may be coming from 1,000 years ago or any such thing. And there are actually quite a few of them, and some are in a statue form. And what they make out of it, I don't know, but I could feel from my experience. That's why, like floating in the air, melting, making love with the universe. Content-wise, I could not get much more information except that someone might have drawn this picture to express the moment of being covered by love. As I felt my mind was totally clear and calm when it happened, the picture of Buddha seems to show the same kind of calmness, even though the body is perhaps in bliss, full of life energy manifesting with essential vibrations spreading over the whole body. The wood carving of sexual scenes I found in the temples of Nepal and the writing like a Kama Sutra may indicate similar situation. The sense of bliss stayed with me at physical and spiritual level for about a week. I felt as if there was some unknown power coexisting with me or within me. My body stayed in a state of euphoria. Even during a walk to a nearby trail from my house, I felt a warm sensation covering my body and tingling feeling around my body to make me feel happy, ecstatic. Of course, I was amazed with this whole new experience. I wondered how long such a sense might last and curious if I would lose this blissful state. I felt like I found something secret just for myself. How things are changing. About 1 week after that experience, the sense of euphoria subsided gradually. It has been 10 days since that experience when I was writing. I'm writing this note now. The sense is still felt, but a much less degree. But the feeling of my whole body covered with tingling sensation is pretty much gone. My palms are still tender and sensitive, but the tingling sensation I used to feel easily became more difficult. I would say if you seek for it, it may become more difficult because it's a natural phenomena. You just let the situation be. It's not in there, but I'm just reflecting. It became harder to reach that warm, incredible state, and the sensation did not intensify as it did before. This is anicca, the impermanence, so I recognized. With equanimity, I had but to accept the change as the way things come and go. Sensation is just a manifestation attributed to combinations of various causes. After all, how much do we have under our control? Who are we anyway? If sensation changes, then so what? Do we keep on following the process to eradicate errors? Or do we put the burden on our back again? That's really important. I didn't want to carry this weight back again. The future is unknown. I plan to meditate more in order not to lose track of the process and keep it at the experiential level. It is for me to deepen the practice with awareness and equanimity. That's the same as samadhi. On a separate note, after the course, I started to give much more attention to giving back rubs to my wife. I was married at the time. We got divorced a dozen years later. I was 52 years old or something around there. With more time and the more detailed job I do, she likes it a lot and wants me to attend more courses in the future, even only for that purpose. In general, the mechanical way of conducting life has changed to a more caring way. When I shared the experience with my wife, she said that sounds very much self-indulging. At the time, I let her words pass by, but later I thought it was true in a way. When I meditate now, the warm sensation of pleasure still comes back every now and then. I read in the sutra that Buddha mentioned about the pleasure of meditation experience here and there. In a way, as she pointed out, I like to do meditation because of that sense of pleasure, the sense of being close to, even being one with divine, if I may say so. Ultimately, however, the focus is whether or not I have awareness and equanimity, i.e., in samadhi. No sensing negative feelings to others, providing selfless service to others, not creating craving or aversion, and having peace and happiness. The progress does not have to be measured by the physical sensation, for example, free flow of energy. While I should be very careful of the snare of Mara, as mentioned before, the direct sensation which I gained from meditation makes me centered and clear with a balanced mind, so I believe. Responding to negative reactions versus Shila. Shila is the moral conduct, but I interpret as right conduct, not just in the morality, but beyond. That's different from the typical understanding, but to me that makes sense. Meaning you're connected to the way of the universe, not just relating to the society. It was 3 days after the course. At the dinner table, I realized the first sign of negative reaction in me. This was a few minutes of negative feeling I developed toward my wife, observing a small incident. Raising emotion toward external object is of no use. We do not contain it inside either. Just patiently observe. Yet in this instance, I had a flood of bad memories coming back to me from similar instances I experienced in the past. Yeah, that was at the dinner table. I remember that 25 years ago. So the carvings, errors, on the stone, which is mine, is yet to be smoothened. At least I did what I now call a mini meditation on the spot to get the impact lessened immediately by focusing on respiration or breathing, following up by the evening meditation. Here's another incident. About 5 days after the course, I thought of telling a small lie to my wife so that I could skip describing the situation. That means I was lazy, which would have taken more time to describe that. I thought if the issue is inconsequential or irrelevant, it is okay to behave like that. Suddenly, however, I got the bodily reaction which triggered me to think of the law of multiplication and Shila, the moral conduct. The physical reaction supports the importance of learning at an unconscious level. If you look at or read the first day, there was a case of me going through this anapana, just focusing on breathing. And at the lunchtime, this is after 4 hours or 5 hours of meditation, after eating lunch or while eating lunch, I saw a grasshopper flying by. And immediately, I felt the reaction of my breathing changed. One side of the nostril had more airflow, and I knew what it was. That's my old habit reacting to that. But, butterfly, did I say? Grasshopper. because I remember the time when I was with my friend at Yellowstone. We used the grasshopper as the fly bait. You do the fly fishing and use the grasshopper, and as it flows down the stream, the big trout grab it. So that image popped up along with this breathing change. So then I knew, okay, that's what it is. So already on the first day, I could get the hint, or how do you call that? The knack of how to relate to, know what body respond to, instead of mind be occupied in the grasshopper. And if I did do that, I would think back of the time, and then this happened, that was nice, da 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 da. And you lose from being in the now and into the deluded state of nowhere, only to reconfirm that that's the old habit that I retain. And anything of that nature can happen, positive or negative. Instead of being in the now and connected to the heart, I move around the monkey mind state. So this is the learning, meaning that I said the importance of learning at our unconscious level. So you become conscious of unconscious reaction, which triggers something is not right. And then you realign yourself to focus what is important, being in the now, and have a calm and quiet mind instead of getting into the delusional state. It's just a pleasant memory, so you could have done it. But if you live like that, you are living in the past and not knowing what's going on, and then the world is spinning and passing by when you don't know what's going on, but only in your imaginary world. So whether it is a small matter or not, we should realize that it is a violation to one of the precepts, not because the precepts say so, but because it will have certain consequences in creating sankhara, a mental conditioning, which leads to misery and burdensome life. It's a negative habitual pattern that can be reinforced if you do that, just like addiction to smoking or drug or whatever. And something happens and you grab it. And you grab it and grab it and get caught in it. So you never be liberated out of that. So your happiness depends on those grabbing instead of being who you are, aligned to the way, and knowing what's going on and responding appropriately. This is misery we create for ourselves. The Course highlighted this point for us to reconsider from the deepest level up, meaning from unconscious part of it, which usually is not accessible because your mind is caught up in something or confined. But that's the whole point of this whole exercise, to switch that habitual pattern. It's your choice if you want to do it or not, or keep on going the way you are. But in my case, I wanted to open up the door that was closed and to see what's out there. That's what happened. And I'm happy I have gone through this. If you can picture, it was the 8th day, almost the 10th day was over, 8th day in the afternoon. So if it was 7 days, maybe nothing happened. But be careful when I say this, that you may create expectation. It can happen to anyone or some people or few people. You have no idea. And nobody may know. because it all depends on each person's experience and how diligently you work on it day in and day out. So 10 days, it's a long time, huge commitment, which I did, and it just happened this way. But many may not have this experience. At the time, I thought everybody has this one, and I was the only one who couldn't get it. But apparently, maybe a few percent, even less, story goes that this called the Banga awakening experience may not happen, but still you can work on it because that's a direction, and you may see the big difference. But your case is possibly different from my case because of the upbringings and the level of curiosity or something like that. But just something to consider. If we have impurity in our mind, it translates to carrying extra luggage to live our life. As the sense of throwing away the luggage was so pleasing, I felt that I did not want to do that, carrying the luggage anymore. More we violate moral conduct or right action, the more impurity in our mind is developed, since any wrongdoing can multiply in our mind to cover up the truth. And then you start to live in the mind of whatever you have constructed. We need to eradicate the error on the spot, meaning deviating from being calm, quiet, and see things as they are, not see things as you think it is, and then move on. Then we need to go through meditation at specified time every day so that we can at least clean up the errors made during the day or those made in the past. Once a year, perhaps we need a major cleanup at the course as well. Naturally, however, the specifics may vary by each individual. Because of the flaws we have as humans and the ability to see that, we also experience blissful state. So the path for liberation may be only found in the world of defilement, where we can see the uplifting sense as we continuously work on this process. This is because one is totally liberated. He can tell if he is liberated or not. Let's have a break. Thank you.